carbonate platform. Carbonate platform. As we discussed in the siliciclastic, the different kind of environment, suppose the pluvial, aeolian, shallow marine, deep marine, we discussed different kind of siliciclastic environment. Today we will be discussing the carbonate depositing environment. That is what is called the carbonate platform. It has nothing to do with the railway platform. It is a carbonate. What is a carbonate platform? By definition, a carbonate platform is actually a thick succession of shallow marine carbonate. That is called the carbonate platform. Any thick succession which may be several tens of meters to several hundreds of meters, that is actually called the carbonate platform. And it is essentially of the shallow marine or shallow water in nature. Now, as we know that what is the most favorable condition of the carbonate deposition? The most favorable condition of the carbonate deposition, it should be shallow water. The water should be oligotrophic. All this I have discussed already. The temperature should be more than 20 degrees centigrade. Ideally, it is 20 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade. Good illumination. All this condition that is essentially required for the good carbonate production. Where I will get a thick carbonate succession as or a platform, where I will get the best of the carbonate production. And where I get the best of the carbonate production, where you have a shallow water, the oligotrophic condition, the temperature, and the salinity, that is a steady salinity. Neither the salinity going too low, nor it is going too high. How can you have it too low? When you have a mixture of the pluvial water. So if the pluvial water is mixing, then the salinity will go down. How will become the salinity of the shallow water high? By means of evaporation. So no major evaporation, no major mixing of the pluvial water. So then you can have a steady salinity, which is the best condition for the carbonate. Because if you increase the salinity too much or decrease the salinity too much, lot of different population of the carbonate secreting organisms, they will be not favorable condition for them. Some may not be tolerating the high salinity, some may not be tolerating the low salinity. So the best condition is to keep a steady salinity. That is the best condition for carbonate deposition. So all these things also indicates that the less of plastic supply. That is also important, because if you have high plastic supply, then the water column become turbid, and turbid water column do not allow much penetration of light. Neither it is good for because it causes a lot of contamination in the system, and that will not promote the carbonate precipitation. So all these conditions, they are the ideal conditions of the carbonate, and this condition we normally get in the equatorial region, that is between 30 degree north to 30 degree south. So that is the best area for the carbonate production. And then when it is producing the carbonate in that area, then how the different kind of geometry that can be generated. So based on the geometry of the carbonate, the carbonate platforms, they are broadly classified into three major types. That is ram, rim shell, and the isolated platform. These are the three major types of carbonate platform. Now within RAM, I have two major types. One is homoclinal RAM, another is distally stiffened RAM. Then in the rim shape, I can have the rip rim. I can have a shoal rim. In the isolated platform, I can have accretionary platform and two escarpment. These are the two. So you can see now that you have six different types of carbonate platform, and they are of different geometry. Now what we will be doing, we will draw the geometry of these different kinds of thing, and we will discuss the basis pattern, what I should expect in different kind of carbonate platform. So first start with the RAM.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
The video clear नहीं आ रही है.
Video clear नहीं आ रही है?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir, earlier it was clear, but now it's a blur.
The
I'm
net
unable
problem.
to read the terms.
The net problem. So क्या करें? Or if I draw as I earlier used to show them in this thing, drawing in the paper. And if I keep the paper here, can they see it? ये कैसे ये लोग करेंगे मैं समझ सकता हूँ मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा बहुत ही खराब स्टेट So just wait that Aditi is bringing the laptop. Last 2 days, the way I have taken. Okay, can you listen to me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I will do now that I will be the way I used to do it earlier. I will draw in the paper and will show you because the video is not coming clearly. So what I was just discussing that there are 6 different types. You could see that the 6 different, or I will write it again.
So the types were not clear.
Okay, I am doing it. Okay, can you see it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I am saying that the carbonate platform, it is of three major types: RAM, rim shell, and isolated platform. In the ramp, again, we have two types. One is the homoclinal and distally stiffened. In the rim shell, I can have a rip rim or a shoal rim. And in the isolated, I have the accretionary and the escarpment. So all these six types of carbonate platform that I can have, provided I have a favorable condition. And what makes it favorable condition? That I have already discussed, that it should be oligotropic, temperature more than 20 degrees centigrade, salinity steady, light illuminated, and all these things that. And provided that condition is available, then you can have all these six kinds of geometry of the carbonate platform. Okay, that is what I was discussing. So now what I will do, I will take one by one the different carbonate platform and their pattern. Now this is the homoclinal ramp pattern. You can see it.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Just hold it a little away from the screen. Okay.
Please let me know when the drawing is complete.
Sir,
it done?
paper, no, actually paper to the right side. Okay.
What we are getting fair weather?
Fair weather wave base, storm wave base. Hello, you can see it. The next one, the distally steepened ramp. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please draw it and then let me know. Arvind, bolo. मैं अभी क्लास में हूँ, मैं क्लास लेके तुमको कॉल करता हूँ.
So greenstone के नीचे क्या लिखा है?
Grains, walk stone and then mud stone.
Sir, and the first one P से जो है Paxton.
Paxton.
तो पैक्सटोन के बाद वाला?
Again walk stone. On both sides of the reef is walk stone. Okay, so these are the two ramp that we will be first discussing. One is a homoclinal ramp and second is a distally steepened ramp. So what is a ramp? Ramp is actually very low gradient carbonate platform. I repeat, ramp is a low gradient shallow bearing carbonate platform. That is the simple definition of a ramp. Now it can have a biohermal growth, it may not have a biohermal growth. Ramp can have a biohermal growth, it may not have a, but biohermal growth will never be wave baffling in case of ramp. I repeat, the biohermal growth, actually biohermal and biostromal, what are these two things? Let me first discuss with you. Can you see the paper?
Yes, sir.
There are two major variation in the geometry of carbonates. Okay, one is that when you have a convex up build up, So you on this side, I have a convex up buildup, which we call the bioharmal, and on my right side is the conformable buildup of carbonate with the associated strata, which we call the biostromal. So these are the two major geometry of carbonate body, biostromal and bioharmal. Now this bioharmal can again be of two types. This bioharmal geometry can be generated biologically. That means active growth of coral, active growth of stromatolite. All these are the active bioharmal growth or biological growth, which basically create a kind of bioharmal structure. Or it can be a more production, not active growth, but it is a more favorable condition of carbonate deposition that is basically causing it a convex subpattern, and we call it the stratigraphic bioharm. So biological bioharm. Now this bioharm, it can be wave baffling, it may not be wave baffling. So I can have this bioharm can be wave baffling or may not wave baffling. So this bioharm can be wave baffling or it may not be wave baffling. If it is baffles wave, what is baffling? That means is actively obstructing the open ocean wave. Actively obstructing the open ocean wave and not allowing the open ocean wave to enter into the shallow water, then you call it a reef. If a bioharm actively it obstructs the open ocean wave, then you call it a reef. If it do not actively obstruct the open ocean wave, then it is not a reef. Okay, but it is a bioharm. So what? Could you draw it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I am showing in distal stipendium that I have developed a bioharm, but it is not a wave baffling structure or it is not a riffle structure. It is only a bioharm which has only given the distal part of the ram a steepening, a slope steepening. So I will get a slope steepening here. There is a slope steepening. Where there is the homoclinal ram, there is no slope steepening. So homoclinal ramp is more similar to a siliciclastic shoal line, and in homoclinal ramp, from the proximal to the distal part, I will get a energy gradient. So you are getting grainstone, then packstone, then wackeystone, then mudstone. All this indicates that from the proximal to distal, you are basically getting a energy gradient. That the proximal part is highest energy. As you go away from the shoal line, you are getting more and more lesser energy environmental condition with increase in mud. And that is why the grainstone, packstone, wackeystone, mudstone, these common grade fully controlled by the wave regime. Onto the shoal line, and that's why I have made the fair weather wave, the storm wave. So all these that will have the normal siliciclastics, the way it happens. Only here it is the carbonates instead of the clastics. But the waves will have the same role to play, currents will have the same role to play, and there is a normal energy gradient from proximal to distal part. I will not get any carbonate mass flow in a homoclinal ramp. Carbonate mass flow is completely out of question in a homoclinal ramp. Commonly, only you will get some cases if the ramp is exposed for a significant time, evaporated, desiccated, and then reworked by the wave. That desiccated class of the carbonate reworked by the wave, then you may get some intraclastic carbonate. Am I clear what I am saying? Is this thing clear? What I am saying, I am discussing about homoclinal ramp. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So what I am saying, a homoclinal ramp will not have intraclastic conglomerate, carbonate conglomerate, because there is no slope development in a homoclinal ramp. Saying so, I am also saying in some rare cases, if the homoclinal ramp is exposed because of the fall in the sea level, and the carbonate, they get lithified, then desiccated, and because of desiccation there is the carbonate crust that is forming, and then afterwards it is reworked by the wave process, that then very thin scale carbonate interclast conglomerate can be formed, provided there is a question of desiccation in it. Otherwise, slope failure carbonate interclast formed out of slope failure, that I will not get in a homoclinal ramp. Okay, fine. Now, coming on to the distally stiffened ramp. What is happening in distally stiffened ramp? That you are basically developing a bioharm at the distal part of the ramp. And now what this bioharm is doing? This bioharm is creating a slope gradient in the deeper part. So there are two things this bioharm is doing. One, at the back of bioharm, there is a lesser energy zone, and in the front zone, bioharm can be actively shedding the sediment from it because of the higher slope creation. So I get the grainstone there. So this is the distally stiffened ramp, where the normal energy gradient is often obstructed, which I get in the homoclinal, I may not get in the distally stiffened. Because of the generation of the bioharm, I will draw the three-dimensional diagram also, and then you will see that what really I mean to say. Okay, fine. So what I expect in a distally stiffened ramp? In a distally stiffened ramp, I may get some carbonate mass flow generated out of the slope creation by the bioharm. Otherwise, it may have the tidal flat, it may have the backstone, the waterstone, and all these, that is the common normal shoreline of a carbonate system that will give. That all these things that you will be having only in the distal part, I may get some bioharm generation and some carbonate interclastic conglomerate because of the slope failure in the frontal side of the bioharm, that I may get. Okay, so commonly what should be the depositional system here? So if I divide this ramp system into inner ramp, mid ramp, and outer ramp, so they are basically inner ramp, mid ramp, and outer ramp. These are the system. And what I should expect, these are the systems that create the peritidal to supratidal limestone. Peritidal to supratidal limestone. Okay. So I am drawing a three-dimensional, then you will be more better, you will be able to understand it. Can you see the three-dimensional diagram? Hello?
Yes, sir.
हाँ? थोड़ा लिफ्ट करूं क्या करूं? Please ask me if things are not getting clear to you. Okay. Is it done?
No, sir.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay. So if you see that what really I have drawn, that this is now you see the sea level. Sea level is above the bioharm. That means the bioharm is not acting as a obstructive material, because it is not has reached so that it can obstruct the sea level, obstruct the wave. It cannot do it, but it will create some sort of phase inconsistency. Now, what you are getting here, you are getting the inner ramp, mid ramp, and the outer ramp. What the most important thing that is important that you can see that on the lee side of the bioharm, you are generating some intraclastic conglomerate, wedge-shaped body of intraclastic conglomerate. So that you are basically getting. And if suppose this whole system, it is a tide dominated system. Instead of wave dominated, the coastline is tide dominated. Okay. Now what will happen? What will happen that you will get it to the peritidal, to intertidal, to subtidal setting. Okay. Peritidal, intertidal, and subtidal, where the tide is operating. So tide is operating, and you are getting this. So this is a very common. The reason is that most of the cases, the carbonate platforms we see, they are tide dominated, because the tide is a low energy environment, and that helps in the carbonate production. Only in the, because most of the carbonates, they are grown in the equatorial region. in the equatorial to the shallow tropical region. And this equatorial and shallow tropical region, they are also invaded very regularly by the storms and hurricanes. You see, every year storm comes in our country. So the carbonate platform, though it is a tide dominated, it can be occasionally reworked by the storm and the wave. So you will get that commonly it is a tide dominated, low energy, but occasional there may be reworking of the carbonate platform because of the storm and hurricane and generation of large amount of carbonate class, which will be if the storm will take towards the landward side. Okay. Is there any question here? Or I will go to the rimmed shell.
सर रैम्प में कॉन्ग्लोमेरेट का जो पार्ट आपने बताया वो थोड़ा क्लियर नहीं हुआ, उसका डिपोजिशन
अच्छा तो बता देते हैं और एक बार देखो इंट्राक्लास्टिक कॉन्ग्लोमेरेट, which is a very important thing in any platform modeling in carbonate. Now, what is intraclastic conglomerate? Intraclast means class generated within the basin. And those class are making the conglomerate. It is not like the normal conglomerate of the sandstone conglomerate. Uske tarah nahi. It is an intraclastic conglomerate. Intraclastic means the class are generated within the basin. Normal conglomerate class are generated outside the basin. So intraclastic conglomerate, the class are then how the class will be generated within the basin. In a carbonate, how class will be generated inside the basin. It can be generated either because of slope failure, or it can be generated because of desiccation, and the class can be generated. It can be generated because of if there is a carbonate associated with evaporite and evaporite get dissolved, then also carbonate class is generated. So I am not going into so much of intricacy of the thing. I can only tell you that it is a intraclass, so the class are generated within the basin, and how the class can be generated. That is what I am saying. When I am giving you a model of distal steepened ramp, that the class are generated because of the steep slope of the bioham, and that in the distal part, that the mid to outer ramp, there you get the generation because of the slope failure. Then I said that suppose it is a tide dominated. So tide is a low energy, and the tide will operate in the system. You will get the tidal, the intertidal, and there. How can we get interclastic conglomerate in such situation? Besides generating by slope failure, I can also generate the interclast in such situation, though it is a tide dominated, if there is occasional storm and hurricane. You see, carbonates in the peritidal zone or intertidal zone, they shallow water carbonates, they very quickly get cemented, they get hard. So you require very strong flow to erode that carbonate and generate the clast. Carbonate is not as non-cohesive as a siliciclastic. Carbonate mud is a cohesive sediment. Carbonate cemented and it becomes hard. And then to make clast out of it, you require a very strong flow, very high shear flow, and that is basically generated by means of the storms and hurricanes. So storms and hurricanes can also generate the class that can be carried both landward side and seaward side during the occasion of the storm and hurricane. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we will be entering into the rimmed shell. Let me draw the rimmed shell. The two types of rimmed shell, as I said, one is a reef rimmed, another is a shoal rimmed, shoal rimmed. Just 1 minute, I am drawing. Keep patience. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
So the top figure is the reef rimmed shell, and the lower figure is the shoal rimmed shell. Both the things can happen. I can have a reef rim, I can have a shoal rim. Now, what is a reef? That I have said that it will be basically baffling the wave. So you can see that the sea level, it is intersecting the sea level, and it will baffle the wave, and it will create a energy shadow zone at its back. You first draw it, and I will again discuss.
तो थोड़ा कैमरा के पास पेपर कर दीजिए. If it is done, please let me know. So what is written after Vaque stone?
Mudstone.
So after that,
Peritidal carbonate or bound stone.
Done, sir.
Okay. So now if you concentrate on the top figure, upper figure, then you can see that there is a biohermal growth at the end of the ramp, at the terminal part of the ramp. And the biohermal growth, it is actually a biological biohermal growth, because it is the active growth. It may be the active growth of a coral or a stromatolite or whatever it is. So what it will do, that it will be basically baffling the sea level, which is on the other one side, that is the open side of the sea, that is the sea level. And sea level, it is baffling the normal sea wave to enter on at the back of it. So at the back of it, you are basically developing a low energy zone, that is the lagoon. This lagoon you have not developed in any kind of ramp. In a ramp, you cannot develop a lagoon unless the open ocean wave is obstructed, baffled. The lagoonal condition cannot be developed. And this rimmed shelf is the ideal situation when you develop a lagoon at the back of it. And the lagoon, in the lagoon, you may have 1-2 patch reef kind of thing, or otherwise it is a very low energy environment represented by Vaque stone or mudstone with some fragmented biological population. On the extreme left side, that is you get the shoreline, carbonate shoreline, which may be represented by fine grain clastics or the peritidal carbonate, which is the fine grain, the carbonates, the shallow marine carbonate, the peritidal carbonate. Now, what happens? This distal reef, which is the rim, that may generate because of the wave, the normal sea level is directly getting obstructed and it is pumping on it. So it will be generating the class from this side, which will be in the form of grainstone. In case of storm, in case of hurricane, the top of the reef may get reworked and the reworked reef sediment may be deposited within the lagoon. So that is the reworked reef sediment during the storm, the top of reef, or during the very high tide, the tsunami, and all those cases, the normally reef do not allow the normal wave to enter. But when there is an extraordinary situation, the reef top, it gets heavily reworked, and the reef talus, the reef broken talus, it may be, you may find directly within the lagoon. So this is the general, rimmed shell. We call it rimmed shell. It is a shelfer condition with a rim. And this rim, where the rim is generated, we call it carbonate factory. Where this rim normally gets generated in a carbon, it is a shelf slope break, where the rims are generated. In the shelf slope break, you get the rims to be generated because there the slope is fast decreased. And there you get the most most favorable condition because the carbon dioxide in the water, because of the high churning of the water, carbon dioxide goes out of the water column, and the best favorable the carbonate precipitating condition. So the self-slope break where the reef kind of thing that is generating, it separates a lagoon at its back and the open ocean on the other side of it. So that is it is also a very good situation for becoming a hydrocarbon reservoir. Wherever in many of the Middle East hydrocarbon reserves, they are actually the rim shape kind of setting, because the reef, it becomes a very good reservoir, and in any kind of prograding situation, the lagoon forms the cap and the open ocean that forms the source rock area, and this becomes a very good hydrocarbon resource area. Now, in the figure below, there it is also forming a rim, but there is no biological growth. What I said, it is a stratigraphic biothermal growth, and that is basically because of the product of the different shoal. Shoal means bar. What is a shoal? Normally, in case of plastic, what is a bar? That in case of carbonate, we call shoal. It is a bar kind of thing. It is a carbonate shoal, that is the ooid or pelloid or the bioclast that may cause the baffling of the wave. These shoals are causing the baffling of the wave, and thereby it is also forming a lagoon at the back of the shoal. Forming a lagoon at the back of the shoal, and you get the coastline that is on the other side of the platform. So either a direct growth of the biological growth forming a reef, or forming a non-biological shoal growth that may create a energy baffling and form a low energy condition at the back of it, then you call it the rim shell. The rim shell. I think that you could understand the difference between a ramp and the rim shell, isn't it? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Could you understand the difference between ramp and rim shell? What is the basic criteria of the rim shell? Here you are causing a wave baffling structure. This wave baffling structure generally forms at the shelf slope break. This wave baffling structure creates a low energy zone at the back of it, which we call the lagoon, and it supplies the intraclastic material on the oceanic side of it because of the wave pumping. In case of the extraordinary situations such as storm, hurricane, the reef top may get reworked and it can create the reef-derived talus into the lagoon. In the lagoon, we get a very low energy, that is the Wackestone, Mudstone kind of thing, and it may be saline or hypersaline, and depending on different kind of biota and its growth. Normally, in case of lagoon, we only get the patch reef, not any kind of the barrier reef. What you are creating here in the self-slope break, that is a barrier reef. So no barrier reef in lagoon, you can only get a patch reef, and this is the situation where you have a huge carbonate body in form of bound stone in terms of barrier bar, bounded between the open ocean carbonate, fine grained carbonate mudstone, and on the other side the Legoland mudstone. So it will be bounded by both. I will be drawing the sequence that I will be basically getting. Same thing I may get if I have a non-biological growth by means of the shoal, which is the very favorable condition, and the generation of different non-skeletal material. Here the barrier is formed by non-skeletal material. In the upper, the barrier is formed by skeletal material. So non-skeletal material, when it forms a barrier for the wave, it can also generate a lagoon, and then you call it a shoal rim. I now generate a succession. What kind of succession I will get? So suppose a distally stiffened, suppose a rimmed shell and which has a biological reef at the self-slope break. If the whole system it progrades, if the entire succession that progrades, that means that you have more and more carbonate production and the whole system is building out into the oceanic side. So system will prograde. So the proximal part will come onto the distal part. So the prograding, this is the succession I will get. This is the succession I will get in case you are seeing it. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
In case that I am getting a rimmed shell. And this is what the biological reef, it can be replaced by the non-biological shoal as well. And this kind of succession I will expect. Now, what will be the thickness of this succession? Hundreds of meter thick succession I may get, and this hundreds of meter thick succession you have to how we reconstruct it from the ancient succession, either in the subsurface or in the surface. In the surface, when we see the carbonate, we do the facies analysis, then they understand the process involved, then which facies is keeping which kind of relationship in its adjacent facies, what are the facies association, and then their mutual spatial and temporal relationship. All these things need to be identified from the field to build up a model at what model the carbonate got deposited. It is not a very easy task. It is a very difficult task. The whole platform, it may be developed in several hundreds of square kilometer area. Imperfect record, all the things may not be preserved, and then you have the detached outcrops of the carbonate over a large area, because carbonates are soluble and you will not get continuous outcrop. So suppose you think of this entire this one that is spreaded over hundreds of kilometer area. Now it is a Paleozoic carbonate ramp or a Mesozoic, and you are getting the patchy exposures at different places with different character. Then you have to characterize those, you have to understand the processes involved, you have to understand that spatially how these different units they are related to one another, because it is not a consistent. In siliciclastic, what happens from the shallow to deep, you have a consistent energy gradient. You have a backshore, you have a beach, you have a foreshore, you have a shore face, you have a shell, and that goes in a very systematic way, the energy gradient. In case of carbonate, that is not so. A simple development of a barrier bar, it can create a shallow energy in the continental side, which is not expected in case of a siliciclastic. So whether you develop a barrier, a bioharm, whether that bioharm acted as a wave baffling structure, everything we need to be understood. It need to be understood, and then you can make out that what is the geometry of the carbonate platform. Now you could draw the succession, I believe. Hello? Have you drawn the succession?
The drawing it. Please little up.
Okay, it is done.
Yes, sir.
Now, so we have discussed. Now, let us discuss that what kind of succession I expect in a ramp. Rim shell का तो succession हम लोगों ने discuss कर लिया. Now we will be discussing that what kind of succession we will be expecting in a ramp. This is for the ramp. Okay. Ramp succession. You can see it now.
Yes, sir.
In this diagram, what I have shown here, that is the sea level curve and the high and low, and the sea level curve I have shown.
So what you have written in the sea level curve?
That is fifth order, and this side it is written parasequence. Parasequence. Fifth order sea level curve. It is what I am drawing. It is a fifth order sea level curve. How many different orders of sea level curve? हम लोग we can trace. Any idea? हो गया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is shown here? Here actually no such structure which can baffle wave and all these things. Here is a normal. It is actually what I have drawn. This is for a homoclinal ramp. Homoclinal ramp. What I am getting that there are some two cycles I have drawn. In each cycle, there is a upward transition from subtidal to intertidal to peritidal. That is shallowing upward. These cycles are shallowing upward cycles. Shallowing upward cycles. Okay? And then again a cycle starts with a subtidal. That means from peritidal to subtidal, there is an increase in the water bathymetry, in the basin bathymetry. That means definitely the accommodation and the bathymetry that increased. That's why again a subtidal is coming above peritidal. And then again it is shallowing up. So this shallowing up, shallow marine carbonate cycles, they are very well picked up in different parts of the world. In shallow marine successions, these sort of shallowing upward cycles, which may be metered to tens to hundreds of meter thick, metered to tens to hundreds of meter thick, these shallowing upward cycles. In this shallowing upward cycle, there is a transition from subtidal to intertidal to peritidal, or from intertidal to peritidal. These cycles and amalgamated these cycles that basically constitute the entire ramp succession in many of the world carbonate succession, which exposes the ancient ramp succession. Even in the present day ramp structure, if you go to Persian Gulf, if you go to Bahamas, if you go to Western Australia, if you go to the Bay of Fundy, everywhere you will see that the ramps, they are, if they are the normal ramp, they create this kind of the shallowing upward cycles. Now, why these shallowing upward cycles are formed? These shallowing upward cycles, actually, people have identified, they are formed because of the rise and fall of very high order rise and fall of sea level. High order, I repeat, high order rise and fall of sea level, which may be of fifth order of Milankovitch cyclicity, Milankovitch band. You must have heard about the Milankovitch cyclicity. Have you heard it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is the fourth, fifth, and sixth order Milankovitch cyclicity, the eccentricity, the obliquity, and the precision. So fifth order sea level oscillation that possibly is responsible for this kind of, and these also are referred to as the peritidal cycles or the parasequence. We call it parasequence. So this is typical of the ramp succession, and we get these shallowing upward cycles. I think it is clear to you. Hello, is it clear?
सर एक बार फिर से बता दीजिए.
What I am saying that in case of a RAM and particularly homoclinal RAM, progradational homoclinal RAM, you will get the stacked cycles, which each cycle show a shallowing upward character from the subtidal to intertidal to peritidal, or from intertidal to peritidal. It is a progradational homoclinal RAM. Now, this is what people believe, that these cycles are in the tune of meter to tens of meter to hundreds of meter thick, these cycles. And these cycles, they get stacked, and these stacked cycles, they made up of hundreds of meter thick, the RAM succession, be it in the Persian Gulf, in Bahamas, in Western Australia, wherever you get this kind of the RAM structure, that you get the cycles, the shallowing upward cycles, they get stacked. And we identify that these cycles are actually is formed because of the high order oscillation of the sea level. And high order oscillation, that basically is connected to the oscillation because of the Milankovitch band. This is what I just told about the RAM. Okay, and you can see that every cycle, it shows a energy gradient from subtidal to intertidal to peritidal. So it is not like that of a rimmed shell where the carbonate is the mudstone, wackeystone at its top, and then the carbonate mudstone at the bottom. And this inconsistency is not there. It is consistent, but it is a cycles that will be guided by the higher order sea level cycles. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now I am showing you two more, that is the isolated. I will not discuss it today because it is almost 11:30. This you can draw, and we will discuss in next week, Thursday, when we will take the class. We will discuss first this and then we will proceed to other topic. So there are two isolated geometry of isolated. One is the accretionary, another is the escarpment. You can see. Can you see both the figures?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tomorrow and day after tomorrow there is national seminar in the department, and I don't think most all other teachers possibly also have told you that there is a seminar.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there may not be any class, and have you people got the invitation for joining in seminar?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay, so we'll be doing it in the next class. I will discuss this isolated platform, and then we'll proceed with the other topics. What is left, that is the dolomite, then evaporite, phosphorite chart. We will be discussing, and tectonics and sedimentation. With that, we will be ending our course actually. Okay.